Hi everyone, look what I just got. Okay, so what is this fine piece of engineering we got behind us? This is a 1982 K10 Suburban. I traded my 96 Suburban earlier this summer for this. The previous owner got tired of it because it started to leaking a lot of oil, and I fixed the problem. Some owner, I don't know if it was the previous or anyone before that, had just glued the valve cover with some gasket sealer, no gasket at all. So that had started leaking a lot, and that was all the problem. So it's running fine. It's a 6.2 diesel with a 6.5 turbo kit. Also supposed to have some marine pump. So for being a 6.2, it's got plenty of power. So obviously this is a third, because I only got crappy cars and trucks. The exhaust just exits here below the rocker. Obnoxious, but sounds cool, but not my style. I like when it comes out a little further back behind the truck. And if you're wondering why the front drive shaft is here on the floor, we're going to get to that. But I mean, it's a cool truck. But I will probably disappoint you by saying that this is actually leaving already. It's leaving today. I've had it the summer, but it broke almost immediately for me. But anyway, it's got a SM465 manual transmission. It's got an NP205 transfer case, so pretty beefy, except the axles. They're just your standard 6-lug 10-bolt. But anyway, when I traded for this, we just did a straight over trade, and I started driving it, and of course I did some burnouts, as you do, and when I did one, I got some wheel hop, and the rear drive shaft broke. So what happened was, broke here in the front. It broke the output yoke from the transfer case, so I had a used one I put on. Also broke the rear U-joint, but I realized now that I put up the drive shaft what happened, or why it probably happened. As you can see, this the MP205 has a fixed yoke, no slip. So this is a slip drive shaft, which has a tiny bit of slip in it. So obviously it's too long, and my idea is, I think when I got the wheel hop, it pushed the drive shaft, and it binded and broke. I think it's amazing that it hadn't broke earlier, because the previous owner drove this out off-road. But anyway, so of course I didn't fix that immediately. So I when it broke, I just put it in 4-wheel drive, which I hadn't even tried at that moment, but amazingly it worked, so I could drive home. Vibrated a bit, but I mean, what can you imagine from a truck like this? But anyway, later, some few days later, I was hitting the highway, and the front drive shaft blew apart. So that sucked. I had to take a tow back to my shop. But now that I'm assembling this drive shaft again, this is a new drive shaft because the other one broke completely. So I was going to mount this, but then I realized that I couldn't, because it was binding between here And also I've tried to cut this tab off, but then it started binding here instead. So I couldn't even get this in place, so I don't know how the previous owner got the drive shaft in place, but I think that's what made it break, because here you can see this is the old drive shaft. The front part just flew off when it happened, but you can see here that it's obviously been grinding for a while, and also here in the back it's always also been grinding a bit, so that's why it was vibrating. And I mean, if it does that every turn, it's no wonder it failed. So obviously both drive shafts was wrong for this amount of lift. And speaking of the lift, since we're not blessed over here in Sweden with cheap stuff and cheap shipping, and we have to buy almost everything from America or somewhere else, there comes some Swedish ingenuity to make stuff cheaper. So this is the Swedish budget lift way, apparently. So got some blocks here in the front, not the best obviously, but someone welded the U-bolts to the block, so I guess there's some safety concern there. But I mean, that's not enough. So they put an extra spring here above the leaf, between the frame and the leaf. So as you can imagine, this is stiff as hell in the front, almost no articulation there. And here in the back we got your standard shackle flip, obviously no bracing, what I would have done, but anyway. And also some blocks here. So your average cheap lift kit when you don't have the money to buy a real one. But anyway, so I'm gonna grind this and put it back up. I was gonna fix the rear drive shaft, but I'm gonna bolt this in, and then we can drive this out and take a little better look at the truck. So I got all the binding areas grinded down, so hopefully now I can put it in place. So I'm gonna start bolting it in. So I got the drive shaft bolted in the back, and now it can have a full drop down here below the front axle. Before it was hanging above, wasn't even able to go down here, and now it can spin freely. So now I just have to bolt it up to the front axle and we're done with this. So now I have it all bolted in, and it turns fine without any binding, so that's good. One thing done. Also I cut off some here on the rear yoke. I mean, probably the most proper thing to do would be to shorten the drive shaft, but I believe this will be the same spline engagement anyway, so I think it's good enough. So at least that won't bottom out and destroy stuff. So now we're done under here. We can drive this thing out in the sun and take a better look at it. Okay, so drive shafts are done. So let's drive this thing out of here. So here we have it outside. I mean, it looks badass. It's a little bit rusty and beat up, but I guess that's part of the charm. So I guess it's time to take this thing for a test drive. So let's go for a little run. The thing that makes this whole truck is the manual transmission. In my opinion, everything should have a manual transmission. It just gets so much better. Automatic transmission sucks. So why did I trade this thing to myself, and why am I selling it? So I was trying to sell my blue 96 Suburban, and it didn't have any luck, and this guy reached out to me that had this Suburban. So I wanted to make a straight up trade, his for mine. So since I believe this was worth more, I traded him. And I mean, this truck is awesome and all. Perfect track for me at the moment. My wife isn't the most fan of it, and I mean, this kind of vehicles is like when it's the next thing going to break. So that's why I decided to sell it. So I put it on for sale, and the guy is picking it up today with a decent amount of money for it. I can put into my other projects, and I mean, I already got a lot of stuff to work on. Always got new stuff on the way in. Sorry for that. So, as I was saying, we got some other stuff on the way. I have some leads on a new convertible Blazer, and then a K10 Suburban that I want to make a deal on, and by selling this I have some money to do that. So when I traded this, I knew it would be a short romance, but super fun to drive, but nothing for me right now. So I'm gonna head back to the shop now. So that will be all we will be seeing of the Suburban. So I hope you're not disappointed I'm selling it. But all got new fun stuff on the way. I got one project here that we're gonna work on sometime in the future. This what's left of a 68 Chevelle. We're gonna make some fun project with. And I mean, you know me, I already got a bunch of stuff to do, so I really don't need more projects, so this one can leave. So thank you for watching today. I know this is a little bit different video, but I guess better something than nothing. So thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.